Bonjour. At the beginning of your French learning experience, I just wanted to go over what a cognate is because it's a really helpful tool to have as you're beginning to learn a language. So cognates are words in two different languages that look the same, that are spelled similarly, and that mean the same thing in those two languages. From some languages to other languages, they also sound the same. That's not the case with French and English in a lot of cases because French pronunciation is very different than English pronunciation. But if you see a lot of French words written out, you'll notice the similarity with English and be able to decipher their meaning that way. Another really related concept to cognates is the idea of loan words. Loan words are words that come from one language and they're just kind of dropped into another language and used in the same way as they were in the original language. However, the words don't change at all. So you're going to see some examples of those as well. These first examples are very obvious. So en anglais, an animal, en français, un animal. An elephant, un éléphant. A zebra, un zèbre. A lion, un lion. So if you were to hear these words, you may not catch on right away, but certainly when you see them, you see that they're very similar, if not exactly the same, as the French equivalent. Also, I made a note here that I don't need you to know like roots or anything in depth about cognates for this class. This is not a linguistics class. This is just the idea of cognates is something that I wanted to talk to you about because it's a helpful tool as you move forward in your language learning. These next examples aren't quite as obvious as the first ones. So en français we have un adolescent, en anglais a teenager. So these two words aren't similar, but we have a word that is like teenager in English that is similar to the word un adolescent, and that is an adolescent. So as an English speaker, we can decipher that un adolescent means a teenager. Un jardin means a garden. These words are very similar. You may not understand it when you hear it, but when you see it, you can see how similar they are. And they both mean garden. Un jardin can also mean a yard. La fille means girl. This one may not be quite as obvious. The cognate that I'm thinking of that would help you land at this conclusion is the word filly, which is the word for a young female horse. So if you're a horse person, you know the word filly and une fille are cognates, and that would lead us to the conclusion that une fille means a girl. Rouge means red. Rouge, we see it you've seen it maybe in Moulin Rouge, which was a movie that was popular a while ago now, but still maybe you've seen it. We also see it in kind of I would say an old-fashioned word for makeup. People might call blush rouge. And the reason for that is because it makes your cheeks a reddish color. So rouge and red, they come from the same root. They both start with R, but they're also the same in meaning. And then un enfant, a child. Un enfant is a word that we as English speakers might equate to infant. So I made this note down here that this is not necessarily a true cognate. Un enfant and an infant are not the same thing. Un enfant really means a child. Now an infant is a type of child. So I would argue that you could say that these are cognates as well. However, you could also classify this as a false cognate, meaning that you look at the word, you assume that it means the thing that it looks like. Un enfant, you assume that it means infant. It doesn't, but it does mean something that's very much related to the idea of an infant. So those are some other cognates that are a little more difficult to figure out. Then we have loan words. I talked about these at the very beginning of the video. So loan words, they are words that mean the same thing from language to language, but they don't change from language to language. So for example, we use these French words in English. A rendezvous, like meet me at the rendezvous point at 0700 hours, right? So a rendezvous. Or soup du jour. You might see that a restaurant advertises its soup du jour, which is its soup of the day. Oops. Laissez-faire. You've heard of laissez-faire democracy before. Letting things kind of go as they will. So laissez-faire is a term that we use in English that comes from French, that is French. And then déjà vu is another one. If you have déjà vu, it's something that you've already seen, and we use this term in English without changing it from the French at all. And in the same way, there are English words that are used in French without changing at all. Un email is a good example. Le weekend, non-stop, un t-shirt. Those are just a few examples, but because English is such a widely spoken language in the world, and because English music and movies and TV shows, etc., are so kind of widely spread, a lot of English terms seep into many different languages, French included. So this is just a short list of a number of words that are English words that are used in the French language. Okay, so that is just a little bit of an explanation of what cognates and loanwords are. And now you are going to do a couple of activities with them.